All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, got to shout out the sponsors real quick. Sovereign Extract, you can get some great CBD oils and a variety of THC product as well, and some CBD oils. And also shout out to Sovereign Extract, getting some great stuff out there, but also USG Canada, some great apparel for boxers, MMA fighters, and fans alike. Today's show features a great individual ahead of a very high stakes fight here. We've got Roxanne Modafferi taking on Lauren Murphy. It goes June 20th, UFC Apex in Las Vegas, UFC Fight Night 173, and I've got Roxanne on the show. How's your day going so far there, Roxanne?
Pretty good, thanks. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, no, great to be talking to you and everything like that. And I'm kind of wondering, like, what your thoughts are on your upcoming fight here, because it seems like a very, high stakes, consequential one with the, number 5 ranked contender going against the number 6 contender there. A lot of people have been talking about this could potentially set up the, next title challenger after, JoJo Calderwood has her shot, obviously. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a fair characterization? Do you kind of see this fight as like being like a very high stakes kind of title eliminator sort of bout?
I've been in this position before, and it's never good to look past my next fight to that sort of thing. So no, I'm trying not to think about it. That's also a whole other, issue. So I'm just gonna focus on Lauren. She's a really good opponent for me. She's the only one I really want to fight right now. Like if I look at the top 10, a lot of people have missed weight, and just I don't want to rematch Maya. She missed weight twice. Like I don't know. So I really just want to fight Lauren, and I think I have good ability to do it. I learned a lot of these things, so I'm looking forward to showing my new improved skill and strength on her.
Yeah, and you seemed very excited in the write-up from your Macy Barber fight. Like, one of the lines towards the end was talking about how you just have, like, so many tools that people haven't even got to see yet. Do you think this fight represents an opportunity to kind of showcase that against, an opponent who obviously is of top quality, riding back-to-back wins, former Invicta FC bantamweight champion? Do you see this as, like, a perfect storm to kind of show off some of those, like, new skills that maybe fans haven't been privy to as of yet?
I do. I completely do. I think that my abilities are going to shine in this fight, and I can't wait for it. I'm excited.
And also something I was noticing that I think is really cool is that your last fight there with Macy Barber, it marked your first fight to encroach into a third decade there, being active in the 2000s and throughout the 2010s and just still growing your skill set and rapidly evolving. What does it mean to you to have, that kind of longevity but still keep adding these new wrinkles to your game?
Dang, a third decade. That's funny. Yeah, it's been 17 years. I I feel great. It's exciting. I don't feel like I'm getting older. I can't wait to keep going and going. And so, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's great, I guess.
Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't trying to make you feel old. It's like you're still at the top of your game and you're going, like, that long in the game. I think that's cool. I think that's an exemplary sort of thing.
Stop it.
But something else I was seeing was you seem to have quite an affinity for Dragon Ball Z there. I'm kind of wondering, like, what do you think Lauren Murphy's power level would be if you could, have a power scouter available?
Man, they quit saying the power levels, further on in the series, so I don't even know what the power level. Definitely over 9,000 for sure. Like, she's pretty high up there. I don't know if she's reached. She's probably definitely Super Saiyan 3 by now. I don't know if she's reached the blue hair level like I have, but we'll see. I think I might have finally achieved Ultra Instinct, which we shall see in my next fight.
Yeah, and a lot of fans are coming out with, like, Dragon Ball Z fan art and kind of sending it in your general direction and stuff like that. How cool is that? That must be a great sort of feeling to have your image out there. It kind of fits that sort of mold, though. I mean, Goku was a happy warrior, too, and you're the happy warrior, so it's great to see.
Yeah, it's so cool that, my fans are drawing me as Goku and Dragon Ball Z. That's awesome. I'm so excited always.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering what the...
Conversation. Time lag.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm kind of wondering what the training looked like for this one, though. Obviously, like the world quite different with like the social distancing measures and stuff like that. Did you have to, change your methodology a great deal for this one? And if so, like what were you doing different this time around?
My training camp has been in two parts. Part one was quarantine part, and I basically trained in my coach AJ's garage with like three other people, who just saw us, stayed within the group, and now, I'm kind of branching out. I'm training with JoJo more, and a few other people, but still trying to keep the group small.
Yeah, for sure. And I was noticing also that the UFC Apex is going to be using some of the smaller size cages for this card, like the 25 as opposed to the 30 octagon that they use for certain events. Is that something that you allocate much thought towards? Does that like benefit your fight style or your methodology at all, or do the dimensions of the cage not factor into your approach at all?
So the Ultimate Fighter cage, do you know if that was a smaller cage?
Yeah, Ultimate Fighter generally uses like the smaller cage, yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah, so there should be that familiarity then. Like, does that breed confidence then?
Because I like cornering people on the cage. Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Should be fine. I don't know. It's good to know.
So it's just kind of like focus on what you're doing. Don't focus on maybe some of the outside kind of things like that. Just like what you're going to do in the cage more so.
Well, I really like using the cage, so the fact the cage is going to be closer sounds good to me.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering about the, quiet sort of dynamic there. Like, obviously, you've competed in Japan where, they're quiet, but there's those bursts and, the uproarious applause to punctuate certain moments. And this empty arena UFC show, from what I can tell, seems like a fair bit different than that. Like, what are your thoughts on, like, the whole, quiet out there and maybe, like, just that kind of dynamic? Do you think that'll inform the performance or affect anything at all?
I am more than used to quiet because I've been on 2 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, and so has Lauren. She's been on 1 season, so that is totally fine. It's great because I can hear my corner, I can hear my opponent's corner, and it's very eerie. I still have a sense of importance, like everybody's watching. I don't know. They're just not there, but I know they're watching. So it's a different kind of pressure, but I still feel like people are watching me.
Yeah, for sure. Different kind of environment, but also one that, like you said, you're very much used to with the seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. But I was also checking out some of the stuff you've been doing writing-wise. Like, I think that's cool. Like, you've got a quote book, and you have some interesting characters in there, like Neil Melanson and Alexei Olenek and stuff like that. How long have you had this quote book going on? Like, is it like the one big quote book, or are there a couple volumes at this point?
I have 2 quote books. I have a parental quote book and then just a general quote book because my memory's not so good, and I thought, man, I better start writing down these things my parents are saying, so, if something happens in the future, I'll always have their words, to guide me, and I love them. So I started writing down my parents' quotes, and then I started hearing other cool quotes, like online and from other people, like my best friend and stuff. So I made a second quote book, and I started writing all those down, and that's been awesome. Like, that book is more than half filled. And it's really inspirational for me,
Yeah, I thought it was a great concept. I try to journal as much as I can, too. So I think there's a lot of utility to that for sure. So cool that you're, allocating your attentions on stuff like that. And I also thought it was cool that you had the Memoirs of a Happy Warrior paperback. And are we expecting like another, part of that there? Because it seems like there's still more chapters being written since that one dropped there.
Yeah, I'm currently writing my second volume of that. So yeah, I've been writing a lot during the lockdown because I can't really, I limited training, so I had a lot of time. So I wrote a lot. So it's still in progress.
Well, that's awesome to hear. So it's like a lot of writing and catching up on Arrow. That's kind of what you're doing with the quarantine.
Yeah, I trained in the morning in AJ's garage, and then I sparred in the afternoon with, 2 people I train with. And then in between there, I did either physical conditioning or I wrote my book, pretty much.
That's awesome, and I wanted to talk about the representation you have too. Like, how much has being represented by Daniel Rubenstein benefited what you're doing in your career?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that?
Oh, I was just wondering about Daniel Rubenstein just representing you and what kind of benefits that's brought to your career.
We just started working together, but so far so good. He's been guiding me pretty well, negotiating for me pretty well. Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, well, for sure, definitely something you're looking for there. But I mean, I'm kind of curious in terms of like what music that you like to train to when you're getting out there in the gym. I've heard certain people though ahead of like some of these cards where no fans are in the arena, like they'll train in silence to kind of replicate the conditions of fight night. Are you doing that sort of thing, or if not, what are you kind of jamming in the gym there?
It depends. I usually like to listen to Rob Zombie, but so does my coach John, and I haven't really trained with him in like 2 months, so I don't feel like I can't listen to Rob Zombie unless Coach John is there. So I've actually been listening to the Foo Fighters song "Run" a lot because I really feel like I was training so hard, not even knowing how to fight or not, and I just felt like the fight game is a race. How much faster can you get better than your opponent? So I felt like every day, like I was just super motivated, just like run, run. How fast can you run? Like, so I've been listening to that song a lot. And AJ actually like older music, like R&B sometimes, like Bill Withers, and like some of those songs. I've been listening to a lot of Bill Withers lately, just because AJ puts it on when he trains me.
Yeah, some great stuff. Sounds like there's some eclectic tunes going on there, but I'm kind of wondering, like, as far as like post-fight festivities and stuff like that. Like from what I was seeing there, like it seems like you're one of your favorite restaurants there, that Fiesta Mexicana family restaurant. It looks like they've kind of opened things up again to half capacity. Are you kind of looking to get back out there for a bit of a victory munch? Like, is like a cheat meal there sort of on the docket at all, or have you not mapped that out so much?
Oh, heck yeah. Fiesta Mexicana is my new favorite restaurant. I love that place. They treat us well. I think it's on the corner of Rainbow and the Spring Valley or not Spring Valley, Desert Inn, one of those roads near the Walmart. It's great. Anyone in Vegas should go there. It's amazing.
Yeah, it looked quite delicious. I was a little jealous seeing the food you had there, admittedly. It was quite Instagram friendly, too. No, some good stuff for sure, but you've been also good with your time, and I definitely want to be mindful of that too. Is there anything you'd like to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here?
Just a huge thanks to my quarantine buddies. Justin Osborne, he's been a great training partner, always there. If I call him up, hey, you want to drill? You want to do something? He's like, yeah, yeah. We went to the park. We did park jiu-jitsu. I dragged my mat out in the grass and drilled. Kelly Nemba, he's my other quarantine buddy. Taiwan Claxton from Bellator, he's been teaching me some wrestling stuff. AJ, thank you, AJ, for everything. First part of my fight camp was done in your garage. And Neil also, thanks for letting me use your garage. So just big thanks to those guys, and I'm excited to be back. A little back with John.
Yeah, and I think everybody's excited to.
Can't forget Lorenzo. He's my strength conditioning coach. Huge thanks to him.
Oh yeah, gotta give the shout outs for sure, and you got a great team around you for sure. Taiwan Claxton, also always a fun guy to chat with. I definitely like talking to him, but I think a lot of people are going to be enjoying this fight here on June 20th. UFC Fight Night 173. It goes to the UFC Apex. We've got Roxanne Modafferi taking on Lauren Murphy. Thanks again for all the time and patience there, Roxanne. Much appreciated for sure, and best of luck with the rest of your preparations, and enjoy the rest of your night too.
Thank you very much.